We are standing outside of one of the most famous houses used in filming a video of all time.
That's right, this is the home of Kevin McAllister in the awesome, incredible, hilarious Christmas classic, Home Alone. In this video, we're gonna take you around, show you some of the filming locations for the movie, and we cordially invite you to come along for the adventure.
Come along. There is no better place than to start right here if you're driving around looking at Home Alone filming locations. Macaulay Culkin, he became the biggest childhood star of all time because of this movie.
That's right. They've made a few changes here, we've noticed. For one thing, the moving vans in the movie were parked throughout that circular kind of driveway right here. That's all gone. They've added some landscaping there instead. Also, if we walk down here to the other side, we'll notice, by the way, this movie made the most money of any movie in America that year. It was 1990. It didn't get released until around Thanksgiving, so November. It only had a month and a half. It still beat out some other big name movies like Pretty Woman and others. Right over here is where the garage was, where you could see Kevin talking over there at one point in the movie. The garage is completely gone now, so that has changed. And of course, the driveway that would have gone right through there is a little bit changed too. I'm not sure of other changes though. All right, we're gonna walk next door and show you something else cool. This is a man that was known as Old Man Marley in the movie, and he was kind of creepy.
Really creepy.
There was a part where he was out here shoveling the walkway or the driveway or something, but this right here was his house. What a cool looking house. Cool old house.
Creepy just like the man was.
Creepy just like the man.
In his boots and a shovel.
That's right, out here scraping snow.
Scraping snow. Scaring kids. Run!
Pretty neat. There are other places in this neighborhood that were used as well. The director that was trying to find this place, and the scouting guy, the guy that went out and looked for filming locations, remembered the house, the Home Alone house, because he had scouted it for the movie Uncle Buck. However, John Hughes decided not to use that house in Uncle Buck. But he remembered it because they spent 2 weeks trying to find the perfect place for Home Alone. They couldn't find the right place. He remembered this house. He said as soon as director Chris Columbus came pulling up here to this house, he said, this is it. Because they wanted to have the house, but they also wanted to have the neighborhood, the streets. Everything had to be just right for the whole McAllister community in order to film this whole movie around here. Of course, we also learned later that not all the scenes were shot inside the house. We're going to go show you where they were shot a little bit later on in this video. Let's go look at the other houses in the neighborhood. Come on.
Come on. But first, let's take one last look at the McAllister residence. Look it. They put up black fencing so not even the mailman can set foot onto the property, and the mailbox is also easily accessible from the sidewalk. Let's take one last look at Old Man Marley's house.
Well, we didn't have to travel very far for our next location. This driveway is it. Pretty much diagonal from the McAllister home. Now, some people get a little confused and they think it's that house right there behind us. But when you really line it up with the movie, you realize there's this one and this driveway, because you can see the window there and the window on the other side of the door. This is where the Wet Bandits were driving in that blue van. They're cool looking blue van. What were they supposed to be, plumbers or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Dodge Ram.
Dodge Ram, that's right. And they pulled up out of the driveway. Kevin was walking right here, and he stops and looks up, and the van is right in his face. So he quickly jumps on out of the way. He gets a little bit of a lecture right here from the Wet Bandits. They tell him, you know, got to be more careful. And then Marv says, Santy doesn't visit you in the funeral home, little boy.
And then Harry, which was played by Joe Pesci, with his famous gold tooth, said, okay, okay, and then smiled, and it was beaming. This house was also shown in the movie. We are now standing in front of the store where Kevin came in and found a toothbrush. Then he proceeded to walk up to the cashier and ask, is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association?
That's right. Right in this store here. It's now an ice cream shop. It was some sort of drugstore at the time. Of course, Old man Marley shows up. You can see his boots as he enters into the store, the big rain boots of some sort. He walks right up to the counter, places his right hand. This got a bandage all over it. There's blood on it, and he puts it on the counter. This scares Kevin. He starts backing up. Excuse me, you got to pay for that toothbrush, the lady says. And he takes off out the door right there, across the street, and into that park over there. So he comes out of this store right here, goes running across the street. I don't even think he looked both ways, and charges into this park right here. Of course, during the movie, this was all set up as an ice skating rink. There are people ice skating all through here, and there was a gazebo. Not sure exactly where. What do you think? Maybe where the water is there?
Yeah, I think that's where it probably was.
Comes through here. The police officer gets knocked over by somebody that's out there playing ice hockey. That gives Kevin just enough time to run across the street over here. Now they've got beautiful playground here, beautiful park water. And then Kevin took off as Heather's doing now. Police officer was having trouble, couldn't keep up with him. And of course, he ran across this pedestrian bridge as a train went by right underneath. Back then, none of this was like this at all. This was all completely clear, so you could clearly see into this part here and the train going under it with Kevin running across it as Heather just did. Now, it's very overgrown.
For those of you who are interested in where Kevin ended up in real life, we're about to show you.
This is the end of that bridge. He runs all the way over here and ends up in a neighborhood. Not sure if this neighborhood was used in any of the filming.
Pretty massive house right there. We are now at the location where Kevin met up with Santa. He told him, "All I want for Christmas is my family back."
He came walking up right through here, and they had the little Santa's house set up right over here. You can very clearly see the building behind it there and parts of the shot of this particular location. So that's why we know it was right here where Santa's house was. Then he wanted to find Santa because the lady was there dressed as an elf with the shoes on, the elf shoes, and he's like, "Nice shoes." She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Where's Santa?" She's like, "Well, he's over there. He parked his car, so we're gonna walk over there and take a look at that now." We'll cut right through here and go right over here. And Santa had that junky car sitting here, and he's smoking a cigarette. He quickly throws the cigarette out. Now, what can I do for you? Oh, actually, first though, he got a ticket on his car. And what was the line? Something like,
He said, "You're gonna give Santa a ticket on Christmas? You might as well give the Easter Bunny a rabies shot."
That's right. Nice. Rabies shots for the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
He was parked somewhere right in here. One of these two doors, they both look the same. Heather believes actually it's the one behind it, but we walked right past it. Anyway, it looks just like this one. Let's look around here and show it. You can clearly see the framing of the door with the Christmas lights and decorations on it. This light right here is lit up, and then there's lights running down through here. So you know Santa was right out here in the road, either at this door or the one right down there. He would have been standing right by his junky car right here. Kevin would have walked over and began talking to him right here. He throws that cigarette out and talks to Kevin. And then he gave him 3 Tic Tacs at the end. We're now at the grocery store where Kevin grabs some milk. Right by the chocolate milk. Ooh, there we go. He also grabbed a few other things here, including a microwave dinner. Of course, the lady kind of grilled him at the checkout about, "What are you doing here alone? Where's your mom? Where's your dad? Where's your family? Where do you live?" I don't tell that to strangers. You're a stranger. The store's changed a good bit over the years, but this is it, the grocery store. We're off to our next location. As we walk up to it, we want to tell you a little bit about John Candy's role in this movie. Everybody remembers John Candy in this movie. He did a wonderful job, but he only had 1 day free on his calendar to shoot the scenes for the movie. So they did it in a 23-hour marathon session and did all of his role during that period of time. And for his efforts, he got paid. Now get this, $414 for the 23-hour session. The pizza delivery boy actually made more than John Candy did in Home Alone. That, to me, is pretty wild. All right.
It is wild.
We're at the house that Heather's going to tell you a little bit about right here. There it is.
This is the house where Kevin walked by and he saw a really nice looking, loving family walk in through those doors right there and go off to the far side of the house where he could peer in through the window and see that they looked like a pretty happy family. And that made him miss his family.
Yeah, right through there is where they were. That's the house of the happy family. Of course, you could also see this tree over here and know that this is where Kevin was standing in the sidewalk right in here. And that house across the street, you could see in the background.
This church is the same church that was used for the nativity scene and for the scenes outside of the church.
That's right, Trinity United Methodist Church. Look at that building. Just a beautiful old church building. The guys that found locations for this movie did a great job throughout the whole movie. We're gonna walk over here. This is where the nativity scene was located at. Heather's gonna stand there and show us exactly where it was, right in there. Kevin was running from the wet bandits. He had to find somewhere to hide. Sure enough, he saw a nativity scene. He ducked into the nativity scene and hid there, thus escaping the wet bandits for the moment. He also went inside the church. The interior shots were shot somewhere else, which we're going to take you over to right now. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Of course, everybody knows that music from the film. Actually, the director, Chris Columbus, was a pretty new director. He'd only done a couple of movies when he did Home Alone, but he was friends with Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg was able to get him in touch with John Williams. John Williams is one of the best composers of all time, best movie composers of all time. He hooked up with John Williams, and John Williams watched the movie. He said, I love it. I love this movie. And he decided to agree to do the score for the movie. Sure enough, that score, the music for Home Alone, got 2 Academy Award nominations. So it worked out really well, and we all know that song. We all know a bunch of John Williams songs. All right, let's go. What do you got to say to that?
I said, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Woo!
All those songs and everything.
And everything.
And everything. Woo! Get you in the spirit for Christmas.
That's right.
This is New Trier High School. Film crews set up a soundstage in the school for the movie. It's where most of the interior scenes of the McAllister home were filmed.
We've now made our way over to the church where some interior scenes were filmed for the movie. It actually looks very beautiful on the outside as well. Not sure why they didn't use it for the outside also. At any rate, this is where Kevin met up with who Buzz called the South Bend murderous shovel slayer. Of course, that was old man Marley. He didn't turn out to be much of a murderous shovel slayer, although he did kind of slay the bad guys with that shovel later on in the movie. So, yeah, you're kind of right.
Just a little bit.
Actually, old man Marley was not in the original script for the movie, but he was added in later, and I'm glad they did add him in because he played a great role in the movie.
Yeah, he walked up to Kevin, said Merry Christmas, and asked, may I have a seat? And then he sat down, and they had a real heart-to-heart conversation. Basically, he told Kevin, you don't have to be afraid of me. They knew they were neighbors, and there was some things going on in the neighborhood around about him. Even his brother saying some things.
That's right.
But he said that they're not true, and you don't have to be afraid. After that, he said that Kevin said he hasn't been a good boy this year. And he was feeling bad, and he was just thinking about his family and kind of looking back on some of the decisions he'd made that weren't so nice and some things he said to them, and he was feeling remorse, and they just had a real good conversation with each other.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can go in there and take a peek at that actual spot. Due to COVID, I don't even know if they're open, but come along. Let's see if we can find the spot in the church.
Even the doors are really beautiful. Ooh.
No luck.
No luck. Darn. Right through these windows right here, they filmed the scene where Old Man Marley was talking to Kevin as he sat in the church pew. Since we couldn't get into the church, we're going to go ahead on and wrap it on up.
One of my favorite childhood movies. One of my favorite Christmas movies. Love it.
Mine too. I absolutely love it as well.
We both love it. Y'all be sure to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you can come along with us on future adventures.
Come along.